So, I just finished season 3 of Westworld, and whilst it is good, it certainly has its issues. I know, I'm late to the party on this one, but I rarely have my finger on the pulse of popular culture. Anyway, this latest season of Westworld reminded me of Netflix's German time travel drama, Dark. Dark, like Westworld, has an outstanding first season, followed by diminishing returns for seasons 2 and 3. Both shows are intelligent, well acted, don't watch the dub, and stylishly produced. But, in my opinion, they both suffer from similar issues. I'm Royston Charmaine, and this video isn't really part of an ongoing series. I'm just going to rant for about 1,000 words. Writing a clever show is a pitfall in and of itself. If the first season of your show is mind-bending, but makes sense and combines into a compelling drama, critical praise is sure to rain down upon you. This comes with issues for season 2. Westworld and Dark both had opening seasons that were brilliant, truly two of the best seasons of television I've ever seen. They are intricate, interesting, and feel complex without ever losing the viewer. So, what do you do for season 2? Well, you have to up the ante, right? You enjoyed the multiple timeline shit? Get fucking ready. You thought it was clever and cool that there were multiple versions of characters? You ain't seen nothing yet. Season 1 of Dark has 3 distinct timelines, with only a handful of characters having multiple versions. By season 3, there were about 40 timelines across 3 different worlds, with every character having at least 2 versions, some having thousands of them. Rather than having a philosophical plot revelation every other episode, every line of dialogue attempts to twist the mind. It's too much, and I don't mean for me. I was able, for the most part, to keep track of all the various plot threads throughout both of these shows, but there were times when I feel like the writers didn't. The main protagonists of Westworld are Dolores, Maeve, and Bernard. They are all unique and interesting characters whose first season arcs are exceptional, but by season 3, I feel like all 3 of them have gotten away from the writers. What are Dolores' motivations again? What do we do with Maeve now she's saved her daughter? How can Bernard affect the plot? We could just have him mill around until the final scene, right? These issues, I feel, come from a couple of places. This is predominantly a music channel, so let's make a music metaphor. Oftentimes, a band's first record will be better than the follow-up. This makes complete sense. Most bands don't get signed to a record deal immediately. Normally, they'll spend years gigging and touring before ever releasing anything professionally recorded. This means that a band's first full-length record will be made up of tracks that have been fine-tuned over months, years, or even decades. Then, if the album is a success, a second will be quickly commissioned. The tracks for this record will normally be written whilst touring the first, and whilst they won't necessarily be rushed, they certainly won't be given the time to gestate like the first batch of songs. It's not uncommon to see a second album contain tracks that were deemed not good enough to make the cut for the first. That's a bad sign. And that's how I feel with Westworld. Showrunners Jonathan Nolan and Lisa Joy had years to hone and fine-tune the first season of Westworld. From what I can tell, they were brought onto the project around 2011 and the first season was filmed in 2015. That means they had probably around 3 years to get the first season's twists and turns just right. For the second season, not so much. I doubt that they had even a single year. Add to that the pressure of needing to make the second season even more twisty-turny than the last, and you have a real problem. A problem that is only compounded by in modern English, the word ego gets a bad rep. It's often used as a synonym for arrogance or conceitedness, but here I mean it in its base form, the centre of a person's pride. It's impossible as a writer to receive widespread critical acclaim for writing something intelligent and brilliant and not have that go to your head even a little bit. It's natural. Modesty can only stretch so far. Eventually, you would start to like the smell of your own farts, at least a little. Westworld and Dark both suffer from these issues. Season 1 of Westworld for the most part stuck to one timeline for pretty much all of the events, apart from young William and Logan's adventure with Dolores. This was expertly done and brilliantly revealed along with the Bernard revelation the episode prior. The praise for these plot threads led the writers to attempt more of the same in the next season, only larger. And it got away from them. Rather than exclaiming, "Oh shit," at the plot twist in season 2, I was more like, wait, what? And the less said about Dark's third season timelines, the better. When you have to have a wiki to explain the relationships between characters and it reads grandmother / great 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 grandmother / great 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 grandmother, It's fair to say you've let your storylines get away from you somewhat. The only way that I can think to resolve this will be to have an outlined plan for multiple seasons before shooting season 1. I think it's fairly clear that neither of these two shows did, and that causes issues down the line. This isn't a problem that's unique to these two shows. You could easily throw in, well, there's a certain huge movie franchise that can definitely be put in this category. And unlike Star Wars, I doubt either of these two shows were promised multiple seasons at the very beginning. In fact, I'm fairly certain that they won't have been. But regardless of that, it's a good idea to have a plan, so as to avoid running into issues as both of these shows have. I still love both these shows, I'm just ranting. Later.